How you doing, guys? Today I'm going to read It Works by R.H.Jarrett. I had quite a bit I was going to say before starting, but I think I just want to get into it, and we can always talk about my reasons for reading this book and what I would hope you can get out of it afterwards. So, yeah. I'm going to start from the beginning. It's a very short book. It's roughly about 20-30 minutes, but I think I will be adding a little bit of commentary, so I'll be aware of the time. Don't think it should take too long, but yeah, let's begin. And apologies, I'm going to be looking down, so yeah. It Works. The author sent the manuscript of this book for criticism to a friend who returned it with the notation, "It works." This judgment, born of experience, was adopted as the title of the book. And this is a message by the publishers. And on the first page, I guess the summary of the book is, if you know what you want, you can have it. I'm pretty sure some of you would have heard this belief. And I think the first page does a great job of summarizing the book. It says, if you know what you want, you can have it. The man who wrote this book is highly successful and widely known for his generosity and helpful spirit. He gives full credit for all that he has accomplished in mastering circumstances, accumulating wealth, and winning friends to the silent working out of the simple, powerful truth which he tells of in his work. He shows you here an easy, open road to a larger, happier life, knowing that the greatest good comes from helping others without expecting praise. He shows you here an easy, open road to a larger, happy life, knowing that the greatest good comes from helping others without expecting praise. The author of this work has requested that his name be omitted. So let's begin. What is the real secret of obtaining desirable possessions? Are some people born under a lucky star or other charm, which enables them to have all that which seems so desirable? And if not, what is the cause of the difference in conditions under which men live? Many years ago, feeling that there must be a logical answer to this question, I decided to find out, if possible, what it was. I found the answer to my own satisfaction, and for years have given the information to others who have used it successfully. From a scientific, psychological, or theological viewpoint, some of the following statements may be interpreted as incorrect, but nevertheless, the plan has brought the results desired to those who have followed the simple instructions, and it is my sincere belief that I am now presenting it in a way which will bring happiness and possessions to many more. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride, is the attitude taken by the average man and woman in regard to possessions. They are not aware of a power so near that it is overlooked, so simple in operation that it is difficult to conceive, and so short in results that it is not made use of consciously or recognized as the cause of failure or success. Gee, I wish that were mine, is the outburst of Jimmy, the office boy, as a new red roadster goes by. And Florence, the telephone operator, expresses the same thought regarding a ring in the jeweler's window, while poor old Jones, the bookkeeper, during the Sunday stroll replies to his wife, "Yes, dear, it would be nice to have a home like that, but it is out of the question. We will have to continue to rent." Landham, the salesman, protests that he does all the work, gets the short end of the money, and will one day quit his job and find a real one. And President Bondum, in his private sanctum, voices a bitter tirade against the annual attack of hay fever. What all these characters have in common: Jimmy, Florence, Jones, Landham, Bondum, these are some great names for novels. What they have in common is they see things out there and they express desire, but it's weak desire. It's just wishing, you know. I wouldn't even say hoping. I don't even know if wishing is apt. They just express an interest in the item while simultaneously expressing regret, or sometimes just not expressing anything past just that would be nice, and then they just stop thinking about it. But obviously in all cases there's consciously or subconsciously, more consciously, the thought that I cannot have this thing, so while I can use my mouth, my tongue, my thoughts to express how desirable I find this item, this material good, that's where I'm going to stop, because I can never afford it, or at least not right now, you know. And so if we go on, it says, oh, obviously, and then the president, who doesn't necessarily want anything other than to probably return back to full health, is complaining. And I think that's interesting. Well, I mean, someone else is complaining. Landem complains. You know, he wants another job. He feels he's not getting the money, I guess, he feels he deserves. But it's just a complaint. I mean, we've all been to work and we've heard people complain, and that's all they do every day. They come back the next day and they complain. I mean, I've done that a couple of times. I'm sure you might have, you know, or maybe not, maybe not. And the president complained about fever. I think out of everything, that sounds like the most normal and regular thing a human being can do. You know, you have a headache, you complain about it. Hey, anyway, talking too much. So at home, it is much the same. Last evening, father declared that daughter Mabel was headed straight for disaster. And today, mother's allowance problem and other trying affairs fade into insignificance as she exclaims, "This is the last straw. Robert's school teacher wants to see me this afternoon. His reports are terrible. I know, but I'm late for bridge now. She'll have to wait until tomorrow." Yeah, this mom is gangster. Yeah, because obviously her son's not doing well at school, but it's game night, so I understand totally. So goes the endless stream of expressions like this from millions of people in all classes who give no thought to what they really want and are getting all they're entitled to or expect. Now, that last sentence, they give no thought to what they really want, but simultaneously are getting all they are entitled to or expect. And it's that idea that even when we're not manifesting consciously, we're still manifesting. So if you're manifesting lack through complaining, either about a situation or an item that you can't get, or just even focusing on what you don't have, I guess that'd still be a complaint of some sort. That's what you're manifesting, more of that lack, more of the absence, more of the sickness, more of the angry situations, you know, more of the trouble, more of the disaster, more of people taking advantage of you and going past your weakly structured boundaries, you know, or no boundaries. Yeah. That's why it's important for us to consciously think about the things that we want and try as much as possible to keep the things we don't want to a minimum, not to focus on them anyway. If you are one of these millions of thoughtless talkers or wishers and would like a decided change from your present condition, you can have it. But first of all, you must know what you want, and this is no easy task. for some people watching this video, you may have read like a million books on law of attraction, so you're well versed with this idea of the generalized human being not knowing exactly what they want, and we go about expressing vaguely formed ideas of our desires. I want to be rich. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if I had a car? I want to be a millionaire one day, and there's a lot more I can say about that, but I think just leave it. I think that's quite clear. A lot of people don't spend the time knowing what they really want, and I think it's, especially for those who may not be acquainted with this, it is really hard to know exactly what you want, because as consumers, we are used to being shown a million things, and sometimes you don't even know why you have that desire. The desire may not belong to you, or it may belong to you, but you don't know which item you want right now, Or you may be so used to going through items in phases that now you're afraid, because you feel like you're going to waste money, you're afraid to desire something else. You feel like, no, if I desire something now, it's got to be permanent, it's got to be forever, it's got to last me 25 years, which obviously comes from some form of lack and fear, and a desire to be reasonable, which is a noble desire, but still could be a fearful desire. Anyway, when you can train your objective mind, the mind you use every day, to decide definitely upon the things or conditions you desire, you will have taken your first big step in accomplishing or securing what you know you want. So that would be the task for most people, knowing what you really want. I remember when I first read The Secret, I was often confused. Did I really need to visualize the exact pair and size of jeans that I wanted? Or wasn't it enough to just say, I want a pair of jeans? If you weren't certain whether you wanted the black pair or the blue pair, was it so bad just to say jeans? Can I even just put the amount? £50 pair of jeans. And I mean, the truth is, I don't feel qualified to say with certainty that there's a definite answer, but I do think the clearer one is, the more efficient this process will be. And so it really does come down to what you are prepared to desire and stick to. And for some people, it may take hours or days of introspection. And for some, just understanding that if we can get all that we want in this world, why not go for the blue jeans today? And maybe you can go for the black jeans tomorrow. Whether that's because you want the blue and the black jeans, or because maybe you're going to give the blue jeans to charity and then get the black jeans, So knowing what one wants is often the hardest part, but I find it to be the most useful part. And I think here's where I'm going to start trying to do more unfolding. I think when it comes to law of attraction and us keeping the thoughts that we really want, the positive thoughts in our mind. I think it's quite similar to gratitude. Gratitude is getting a lot of time and research in the academic community, and the benefits of being grateful. These benefits are being published almost every day, and it's kind of one of the things I always felt about law of attraction, that even though it worked on a metaphysical or spiritual level, it instinctively also just felt like common sense. Not so much that you could sit down in one place, visualize your dream item, and have the postman ring the bell the next day. But something made me feel like if you earnestly desired something, one way or another, you would find a way to get it. And I think maybe it's because I've always believed in myself and also understood that I can be quite a procrastinator. I think I believed in my ability to acquire anything I focused on long enough. So sometimes I was like, the divine spirit, God, the universe is going to bring me to what I'm looking for. But then sometimes I just thought it didn't really matter how it came anyway. If I could commit to these desires and hold them in my thought long enough, one way or another, I was going to acquire these things. Whether it changed the way I spent my money at work, saving for it, whatever the case, I always felt like I was going to get whatever was on my mind, Yeah, okay, I'm going to go on now. To get what you want is no more mysterious or uncertain than the radio waves all around you. Tune in correctly and you get a perfect result. But to do this, it is of course necessary to know something of your equipment and have a plan of operation. You have within you a mighty power, anxious and willing to serve you, a power capable of giving you that which you earnestly desire. Now, I don't know if this is the first time I've come across the word earnest in this text, but that earnest is quite important. It separates red hot desire. I think that phrase is a term in Think and Grow Rich. It separates red hot desire from just mere, that would be nice if I could get it one day. And not even just that, but even an attempt to desire something and then think about it once every 2 to 3 days, maybe once even every day, compared to a person who lives and breathes these dreams, can see them every time he or she closes their eyes, even when their eyes are open. That red hot desire that says, this is important to me, I'm going to get it. And I think that's what the author is trying to convey to the reader when he uses the word earnest. This power is described by Thompson J. Hudson, Ph.D., LL.D., author of The Law of Psychic Phenomena, as your subjective mind. Other learned writers use different names and terms, but all agree that it is omnipotent. Therefore, I call this power Emmanuel, God in us. Regardless of the name of this great power, or of the conscious admission of a God, the power is capable and willing to carry to a complete and perfect conclusion. Every earnest desire of your objective mind, but you must be really in earnest, once again, about what you want. Occasional wishing or half-hearted wanting does not form a perfect connection or communication with your omnipotent power. You must be in earnest. Wow. sincerely and truthfully desiring certain conditions or things, mental, physical, or spiritual. So we have this earnest. And it feels obvious, and I think I'm going to stop saying that. I'm just going to say what I have on my mind. But I think one of the biggest reasons why desiring things earnestly is important is because one way or another, these thoughts are going to come. You know, you could be the best at meditating. You could have no thought. Well, actually, if you had no thoughts, then you would be okay. But most of us are always thinking. And I think that's just it. That dream of something sacred and lovely to you is almost like a seed planted in your heart and in your thoughts, and it can't grow successfully when the weeds of doubt, anger, disappointment, distractions about other people's lives and suffering and successes are in the way. You know, when you really desire something, you know, you hear the term one-track mind, and it's usually used in a negative sense. But to be one-track minded about your desires means to regulate all those other irrelevant thoughts. And to a large part, most of them will be irrelevant. Is to regulate them. I wouldn't say somewhere like you push them out of your mind, you know. They're just not relevant anymore. They're not important. They distract from what is important. Your objective mind and will are so vacillating that you usually only wish for things, and the wonderful, capable power within you does not function. Most wishes are simply vocal expressions. Jimmy the office boy gave no thought of possessing the red roaster. Landon the salesman was not even thinking of any other job, or even thinking at all. President Bondum knew he had hay fever and was expecting it. Father's business was quite likely successful, and mother no doubt brought home first prize from the bridge party that day, but they had no fixed idea of what they really wanted their children to accomplish, and were actually helping to bring about the unhappy conditions which existed. There's something I really wanted to say. Yeah. Reading over these characters, I mean, there's something about this that, and I'm going to say it again, it sounds obvious if you are used to it somewhat, but I think it's interesting, even in the world we live in, people still put limits on our abilities. You know, they think once you're past a certain age, you can't help but be unfit or weak. Past a certain age, you can't do this. If you're in this situation, you can't do that. You know, people are always putting limits. If this has happened to you, if you've done this, or if you did this yesterday, then today you can't do something else. You would be surprised. You would be surprised. You know? And there's so much confidence. And, you know, we live in a world, I don't want to say it's not safe to be a dreamer, but I'm sure there are quite a few people who would think that it's not safe, it's not reasonable. You would probably be a burden to people in this world where we have to go and work. So they say we have to go and work in places we don't like to produce income to pay for our basic expenses and not so basic expenses. And the smarter you are, or the smarter you want to look, or the smarter you've been conditioned to be, the more you feel a sense of dread when seemingly irrational thoughts come in for many reasons. I think we can talk about that later. If you're in earnest, once more, the word earnest. If you're in earnest about changing your present condition, there is a concise, definite, resultful plan, with rules, explanations, and suggestions. The plan. Write down on paper in order of their importance the things and conditions you really want. Do not be afraid of wanting too much. Go the limit in writing down your wants. Change the list daily, adding or taking from it until you have it about right. Do not be discouraged on account of changes, as this is natural. And this is really good, because I was arguing with my friend about this 2 or 3 days ago. The problem with changing one's mind. And I do think to a certain extent there is a problem, but maybe when you've got a big and long list, taking things in and taking things off the list aren't so bad, as opposed to maybe having one want, maybe a definite idea of money, 100,000, and changing your mind about that amount literally every day. I'd like to believe that that would be quite problematic, but I don't know. Change the list daily, adding to or taking from it until you have it just about right. Do not be discouraged on account of changes, as this is natural. There will always be changes and additions with accomplishments and increasing desires. The 3 positive rules of accomplishments. These are really important. Number 1, read the list of what you want 3 times each day, morning, noon, and night. Think of what you want as often as possible. Do not talk to anyone about your plan, except to the great power within you, which will unfold to your objective mind the method of accomplishment. Now, today I just started my list. Pretty elaborate so far. I wish I could, I'm lying if I say I wish I could share it with you, but it would be nice, because I really do want this to be collaborative somewhat, and for us to be able to communicate with one another. But number 3 literally says, do not talk to anyone about your plan. And, but yeah, I looked at everything. I think when it comes to manifesting, I think that's the word people use a lot today. When it comes to manifesting things, I find it way easier to manifest or to desire specific things than a large sum of money, even what I would want to be in 4 or 5 years, because you can give vague concepts, but I think the closer you get to today, the clearer you be on the things you want, even if you're never really totally clear or sure of what you want. If I said to you, how much do you want to earn a month now? Unless you have a specific number for a reason very deep and dear to you, you would probably think, well, wouldn't it be nice if I could have $1 million a month? And then you might think, well, what do I make now? Could I have double that? And then you might think, why just double it? And then you might think, is that realistic? So you go up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think, once again, this is one of the areas where, and people have so many ideas on what you should kind of set for a desire. Some people say, only put down that which feels comfortable to your spirit, because it's realistic. And so you are faith, which is the most important ingredient for manifesting all these things. Sometimes you need baby steps. So if you're only earning $500 a month, some people think it might be unrealistic to then ask for $10,000 a month. But I think because it really comes down to what you can really work your mind to desire, it's probably smart that some people just leave that to the individual, and then you just have to do trial and error. But the truth of the matter is, and I think I can say this with confidence, that if you can desire 1 million and believe in it, 1 million a month, yeah, then you'll get it. You will get it. But anyway, the point is, why did I go into all of that? I said that putting down items for me is easier than putting down sums of money, large sums of money. Obviously in my list as well, I also have sums of money, but these are more immediate needs, and the items, clothes, equipment that I might need for different things. Even when I'm not completely clear on what I want, I've decided just to pick what is important to buy or try for now, and I'm committed to sticking with the list. Of course, if I don't think I want it anymore, or if I'm changing my mind on, I don't know, whatever it is that I want, as the book says, I'm free to take things out and put things in as many times as I choose, But unless there's a very good reason, I think I'm going to leave things as they are. And then the next challenge, and I don't want to call it that, but too late, it's come out already, is reading the list 3 times a day. I find that even when I'm meant to read things twice a day, I struggle, not to talk of 3, but I'm committed to doing so. I have the sheets with me, and I'm even considering rewriting them on a daily basis. I have to write it again anyway, because somewhere in what I said, and I think I always gloss over this, write down on paper in order of their importance. So you're writing down these things in order of their importance. And I think I just need to get everything out of my mind quickly. And so I need to write it again in order of importance, which I think could be a little difficult, because what makes something important? Is it what you would hope to get if you could only get one thing? Or is it maybe a pressing need? It'd be somewhere between those two aspects. Anyway, I'm taking too much of your time. It is obvious that you cannot acquire faith at the start. Some of your desires, from all practical reasoning, may seem positively unattainable, but nevertheless write them down on your list in their proper place of importance to you. There is no need to analyze how this power within you is going to accomplish your desires. Such a procedure is as unnecessary as trying to figure out why a grain of salt placed in fertile soil shoots up in a green stalk. It is obvious that you cannot acquire faith at the start. Some of your desires, from all practical reasoning, may seem positively unattainable, but nevertheless, write them down on your list in their proper place of importance to you. There is no need to analyze how this power within you is going to accomplish your desires. Such a procedure is as unnecessary as trying to figure out why a grain of corn placed in fertile soil shoots up a green stalk, blossoms, and produces an ear of corn containing hundreds of grains, each capable of doing what the one grain did. If you will follow this definite plan and carry out these 3 simple rules, not these, the 3 simple rules, the method of accomplishment will unfold quite as mysteriously as the ear of corn appears on the stalk, and in most cases, much sooner than you expect. When new desires deserving position at or about the top of your list come to you, then you may rest assured you are progressing correctly. Removing from your list items which at first you thought you wanted is another sure indication of progress. It is natural to be skeptical and have doubts, distrust, and questioning. But when these thoughts arise, get out your list, Read over it, or if you have it memorized, talk to your inner self about your desires until the doubts that interfere with your progress are gone. Remember that nothing can prevent your having that which you earnestly desire. Earnestly again. Others have these things, why not you? The omnipotent power within you does not enter into any controversial argument. It is waiting and willing to serve when you are ready. But your objective mind is so susceptible to suggestion that it is almost impossible to make any satisfactory progress when surrounded by skeptics. Therefore, choose your friends carefully and associate with people who now have some of the things you really want. But do not discuss your method of accomplishment with them. So I think that's why Rule 3 is so important, because you are protecting that which is dear to you, these desires, from the skeptic mind. And there are loads of skeptical people around. And I think in general, we're always going to find people who don't believe in our methods, who don't believe in our dreams. But I find, and this might make you feel better, I find that people who do a lot of doubting of others tend to also doubt themselves. So it's important not to get too offended and to almost have sympathy for the person who's doubting. But just to make things easier, keep these things to yourself. Put down on your list of wants such material things as money, home, automobile, or whatever it may be, but do not stop there. Be more definite. If you want an automobile, decide what kind, style, price, color, and all the other details, including when you want it, time. If you want a home, plan the structure, grounds, and furnishing. Decide on location and cost. If you want money, write down the amount. If you want to break a record in your business, put it down. It may be a sales record. If so, write out the total, the date required, then the number of items you must sell to make it. Also list your prospects and put after each name the sum expected. This may seem very foolish at first, but you can never realize your desires if you do not know positively and in detail what you want and when you want it. If you cannot decide this, you are not in earnest. So, half-formed thoughts, fuzzy thoughts, they tend to go hand in hand with weak desires, weak desiring, and they'll probably get swallowed by the more stronger thoughts you have during the day, thoughts filled with emotion. And generally, if you're untrained, those thoughts tend to be negative. I don't know about you, but I'm always the most upset or the most committed to the wrong that either I commit or the wrong that people do to me. And those are the things that occupy my mind. How could the person do that? I can't believe it. I tried so hard to get that opportunity. Why didn't I get it? What's going on? You see it, you see it, you see it, you're upset. You see it again, you can't believe it. Versus, that car would be nice, I think. And then you think that like 24 hours later, 36 hours later, on one hand, you got fully fleshed out negative movies, Spielberg movies. And then for your desires, you've got like 2-second Vine clips shot on some old Ericsson mobile. It was just, yeah. That was a decent analogy, right? Kinda. So, if you cannot decide this, you are not in earnest. I'm going to wrap up because it's getting dark. And, apologies for the lighting issues. I've tried to record this video so many times, and I myself am fighting issues with procrastination and lack of motivation. I wanted to get into that at the beginning, but I just thought, as it's my first go, this video might flow better if I just got into what I was doing. So it is important to me more than anything that I get this out and I put it on YouTube. And I'll go further into my struggles and hopefully they can inspire other people. But I just ask humbly that you accept some of the conditions right now and forget me. Just focus on what I'm saying and believe in yourself. And that's all that matters. If you cannot decide this, you are not in earnest. You must be definite, and when you are, results will be surprising and almost unbelievable. A natural and ancient enemy will no doubt appear when you get your first taste of accomplishment. The enemy is discredit, in form of such thoughts as, it can't be possible, it just happened to be. What a remarkable coincidence. Now, quickly, I experienced this today because I was asking for something. I wanted to buy something today. And I earned the money for it today, minutes before I paid for the item. And it was so easy because it didn't drop out of the sky, the opportunity. It was so easy to think, you were going to do it anyway. But because I'd read this book a few times, I made sure I expressed gratitude, and I didn't belittle the opportunity because the timing was amazing. You say all these things when you get the things you're looking for. But I know an hour before, while believing it was going to come, I didn't have the idea. Then it comes immediately. And then because it's through a channel that you may have used in the past, you're just like, it would have come anyway. Don't do that. Show gratitude. When such thoughts occur, give thanks and assert credit to your omnipotent power for the accomplishment. By doing this, you gain assurance and more accomplishment, and in time prove to yourself that there is a law which actually works at all times when you are in tune with it. Sincere and earnest thanks cannot be given without gratitude, and it is impossible to be thankful and grateful without being happy. You can't hold a thought of gratitude and a thought of sadness or disappointment at the same time. Can't happen. Therefore, when you are thanking your greatest and best friend, your omnipotent power, for the gifts received, do so with all your soul and let it be reflected in your face. The power and what it does is beyond understanding. Do not try to understand it, but accept the accomplishment with thankfulness, happiness, and strengthened faith. Caution. We will come to the penultimate subheading. It is possible to want and obtain that which will make you miserable, that which will wreck the happiness of others, that which will cause sickness and death, that which will rob you of eternal life. You can have what you want, but you must take all that goes with it. So when planning your wants, plan that which you are sure will give you and your fellow man the greatest good here on earth, thus paving the way to that future hope beyond the pale of human understanding. As I was saying that now, I just thought, listen, if you're in crypto or other things, the scammers are next level, Scammers should be getting PhDs. Well, some scammers are just straight basic. But scammers should be getting PhDs out here. And they're probably using the same power you want to use. And you better believe they desire what they want from you more than you desire what you want yourself. They're sleeping, man. When I scam you for your hard-earned cash, I'm going on holiday. They wake up, they're thinking about that. They don't have time to express it for like a second a day. They're out there working this scam work. So this is what this is saying, that you can use this law on almost anything and be careful, and I think that caution shouldn't just apply to things gained. I don't really want to use immoral, but things gained through exploiting others. But even when you're not exploiting someone else, even the things you want for yourself, be careful. Because when we come from positions of low self-esteem, fear, you may want certain things that you don't really need, that you don't really want. And so you have to be just as cautious with those ones too, you know? And I mean, for some people, you can only find out one way, but you still have to be careful and still have to understand the responsibility we've all been given as human beings, you know? I'm talking to you here. I'm no guru, not even close. If I were a guru, I'd probably have a better camera, you know? I'm not a guru. I'm trying the same things I'm reading out to you. You know, we all have to take responsibility for our lives, where we're going, and the things we do, you know? So just be careful. This method of securing what you want applies to everything you are capable of desiring, and the scope being so great. It is suggested that your first list consists of only those things with which you are quite familiar, such as an amount of money or accomplishment or the possession of material things. Such desires as these are more easily and quickly obtained than the discontinuance of fixed habits, the welfare of others, and the healing of mental and bodily ills. Accomplish the lesser things first, then take the next step, and when that is accomplished, you will seek the higher and really important objectives in life. But long before you reach this stage of your progress, many worthwhile desires will find their place on your list. One will be to help others as you've been helped. Great is the reward to those who help and give without thought of self, as it is impossible to be unselfish without gain. In conclusion, a short while ago, Dr. Emile Coué came to this country and showed thousands of people how to help themselves. Thousands of others spoofed at the idea, refused his assistance, and they are today where they were before his visit. So with the statements and plans presented to you now, you can reject or accept. You can remain as you are or have anything you want. The choice is yours, but God grant that you may find in this short volume the inspiration to choose aright, follow the plan, and thereby obtain, as so many others have, all things, whether they may be, all things, whatever they may be, that you desire. Read the entire book over again and again and then again. Memorize the 3 simple rules. Don't forget, write down the things you want in order of importance. Think about them regularly, and don't tell anybody apart from your inner spirit and, you know, God, omnipotent power, universe. Test these rules now on what you want the most at this very minute. So I would say when you put this video off, and I don't want to say how many things, but just think of something that you've probably been desiring, that you probably need sooner rather than later, and get to work on it. But really, just write your list, you know. Test them now on what you want most this minute. This book could have extended easily over 350 pages, but it has been deliberately shortened to make it easy as possible for you to read, understand, and use. Will you try it? Thousands of bettered lives will testify to the fact that it works. The end. The end. Well, we got a prologue. A letter to you from the author. Dear reader, the great possessions of life are all gifts mysteriously bestowed. Sight, health, aspiration, love, or life itself. The same is true of ideas. The richest of them are given to us. As for instance, the powerful idea which this book has given you. What are you going to do with it? Are you surprised when I tell you the most profitable thing you can do is to give it away? You can do this in an easy and practical way by having this book sent to those you know who need it. In this way, you can help in the distribution of this worthwhile effort to make the lives of others better and happier. You know people who are standing still or who are worried and discouraged. This is your chance to help them help themselves. If you withhold this book from them, you will lose the conscious satisfaction that comes from doing good. If you see that they get this book, then you put yourself in line with the law of life which says you get by giving, and you may rightly express prosperity and achievement. At the very least, you will have the inner sense of having done a good deed with no hope of being openly thanked, and your reward will come secretly in added power and larger life. By the author. The end, the end, the end. And so this last part is really talking about charity and what you can do for others once you have helped yourself. Once you have helped yourself, what you can do for others. You know, you might decide to buy a copy of this book, print it off the internet, show them this video, you know, and you're helping them that way, you know, but work on yourself, do things. So I'm going to stop here. I'm laughing inside. I know when I started, it was light somewhat, and now you're struggling to see my face. I'm dark skin, so it's like, am I really talking to you? Or is this the beginning of a horror movie? I don't know. But as I said, it was important to record the video. I'm going to record another one because I want another video without commentary. And I might probably do a few graphics, put a few images to make you think, might entertain you, but also make you think, you know, you might prefer that. We don't have to think much about the camera. Camera is not bad, you know. It's just the lightning, really. Anyway, I really want to thank you for taking the time to listen. If you've made it here this far, I really just want to stop now so I don't waste any more of your time. But I will record another video explaining my purpose, what I think it is, and why I've recorded this video. I think in the meantime, take the time, please, 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 take out a piece of paper, pen, write down the things you want. Believe in yourself. Believe in what you are wanting and what you are desiring. And I'll be back and we can do this thing together. Okay? All right? Bless. Take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in coming back, you can like and subscribe. And take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Go prosper. Bye.